Thanks for joining us today for our CareLabs session. Just for anybody who hasn't attended before, our CareLabs are webinars that are designed specifically for our customers. In these sessions, we demonstrate nonprofit best practices within the context of Keela so that you can see exactly how something works and get some inspiration as to how you can leverage Keela and your own Keela account. We do announce our webinars in our customer newsletter and sometimes through some in-app notifications as well. But our customer newsletter provides the full breakdown of all of the upcoming webinars for the month. And this is typically sent out on the first Thursday of every month. So stay tuned for that next week. Before we jump into the bulk of the webinar, there are some administrative things. In this case, the session is booked for 60 minutes. I believe Merrick and myself are planning for about 30 to 40 minutes of content. We're leaving lots of room for questions because we know that cryptocurrency is a very hot topic and we're going to have some questions from you. You're welcome to ask any questions that you want through the chat box, or you can save them and post them in the Q&A, and Merrick and myself will get to those at the end of the session. My wonderful colleagues, Amanda and Stefania, are also monitoring the chat box if you have any questions along the way. Just make sure that you have it set to everybody. I make that mistake every time I do a webinar. I always ask the question to myself and nobody else can see it. So make sure you have it set so that everybody can view your question as well. As always, our sessions are recorded and you will receive the recording as well as any relevant materials within the next few days. So I'm going to pass it off. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to do an introduction and then I'm going to pass it off so everybody knows who we're dealing with. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nicole. I'm the customer care team lead here at Keela. I'm sure I've spoken to many of you before, being on the support side. So now you're finally able to put a face to the name. I'm joined today by the wonderful Merrick, who is the VP of Marketing at BitPay. He has more than 25 years of experience in the fintech industry and is going to be letting us all know about what BitPay is and how it's a valuable channel for nonprofits. And I myself am a bit of a crypto newbie, so this has been a really great experience for me. And I think that we're all ready for your questions and hoping to demonstrate some of the awesome capabilities of this integration. Now, Merrick, it's your turn.
Great. Well, I appreciate that wonderful introduction. I'm actually going to share my screen. I have a few slides.
Perfect.
I am going to try to keep this very high level. If you need more details, we can do that in the Q&A section, but I don't want to put too much out there in the beginning. So I hope everybody can see the presentation that I'm sharing. But as Nicole said, I am with BitPay and I've been with them for 3 years. BitPay has been around since 2011. We are the largest and oldest cryptocurrency payment processor in the world. So that means we process more cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, it being the largest cryptocurrency than anyone in the world. We are a regulated money services business. So that means we follow all the laws and regulations of the United States and all the territories that we operate in. We have money services, money transmitter licenses in many states that require it. Including the New York BIT license here in the United States. New York is a little bit unique and different and has their own license, the New York BIT license. So we were one of the first blockchain companies to have that. We have secured more than $70 million in venture capital funding over the years. Yes, it's been a few years since our last round. And actually, we're proud to say that we don't necessarily need another round of funding. But if someone comes along and it's the right opportunity, we will definitely do that, but we are fully funded and and I'll share a little more information about that. We process about $1 billion annually in cryptocurrency transactions. So it's not an insignificant amount, but you can see that there's a lot of uptick and opportunity with cryptocurrency. And we power some Main Street e-commerce and Fortune 500 brands. And I'm going to share that with you in a second too. So my goal is after this presentation that you feel comfortable with BitPay, but you also feel comfortable with cryptocurrency and blockchain because it's not as big and scary as you might think it is. And I'm going to break it down so that you have a great understanding of it. And next time you are out with your family or friends, you can have those fun conversations and be that expert that they know you are going to be. So let me advance this. So I mentioned we secured more than $70 million in funding. Well, those have come from big names throughout all industries, not just the fintech industry, but Peter Thiel of the Founders Fund being a big one. He was involved with PayPal early in the day. Sir Richard Branson of the Virgin Group, and then Jerry Yang, Yahoo co-founder. These are all investors of BitPay, and we have many more than this. Our advisor is Arthur Levitt. He's the former chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission here in the United States. And our director is Carl Stern, who is a former CEO and chairman of the Boston Consulting Group. So we have a very experienced and proven leadership. We have great investors. So you have to feel comfortable with that. And anytime you do business with any company, regardless of if it's a blockchain company or just traditional company, you want to make sure that they have the proper financing and balance sheet in place, as well as leadership. And I hope this proves that we have both in place for us. So a little bit about BitPay. We are headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, but we have offices all over, including Argentina and the Netherlands. We're about 80 employees right now, and we always range around 80, maybe up to 100, but we don't need a lot. We have built the business so that we can scale with the employees that we have and staff. We also have our own mobile app, which is a digital wallet for cryptocurrency. And we have more than 3 million users of our own mobile wallet app. Actually, many of the crypto wallets out there today actually use our source code to create their crypto wallet. So it was an open source code, and we created the BitPay wallet first, and then allowed others to use our open source to create their own crypto wallets. Accepted cryptocurrencies, we list 15 over here. We actually accept 16, and I know with Keela, you're taking 12 of those to support. But Bitcoin is by far the largest. Clients and partners of ours, you'll see some Main Street brands over here, Fortune 500, Microsoft, Dish, Newegg, which is an electronics retailer, AppMex, which is a precious metals gold bullion dealer online. You see some of the large nonprofits and charitable organizations that we work with, including the Wounded Warrior Project, UNICEF, and American Red Cross. So we have a lot of big brands that trust BitPay. In fact, some of them, including AT&T and Microsoft, have been using us for many, many years. So they've done the due diligence on BitPay and our executive team and our leadership team, and they feel comfortable using us. So it should be a no-brainer for anybody that is getting into crypto payments and crypto donations. So why accept cryptocurrency as a form of donation, as a form of payment? Well, today, cryptocurrency has a global crypto market cap of more than $1 trillion. So that's new wealth out there. This isn't wealth sitting in a bank account here in the United States or in Canada. This is additional wealth that's sitting out there on a global scale. And we are in a bear market right now, and we're at the bottom of where we were. So just imagine last year when we were in the bull run, cryptocurrency, the global crypto market cap was close to 3 trillion, about $2.5 trillion. Bitcoin by itself was over $1 trillion, and it settled down to about $475 billion today. Still not insignificant, but some of the other coins that we support, Ethereum being the next largest, is about 200 billion. USDC, which is a stable coin, and a stable coin is different than a true cryptocurrency like Bitcoin in that it does not fluctuate in value. It's pegged to the US dollar. So one USDC is always going to be about $1, whereas Bitcoin will go up and it will go down. And then Dogecoin. I think most people have heard of Dogecoin. Elon Musk is a big fan of it. He tweeted about it. He was on Saturday Night Live about it. And that's about $10 billion. So again, one major reason to accept crypto donations is that the global crypto market cap today is about $1 trillion, but it has been even higher and will continue to grow. So who is a crypto donor, right? And I took this article from CoinDesk, How Crypto is Changing Philanthropy. This was an article done back in 2022. They stated in their article that over 60% of cryptocurrency users are under the age of 40. And we see that as well with people that are using our wallet and those that are transacting through our system. They are Gen Z, millennial, under the age of 40. They actually said the average age of crypto users is 38, whereas the average age of donors is 64. So you can see that big comparison. Crypto users, younger, average donors, older. And there's nothing wrong with that, but as a way to attract and get additional donations from a younger demographic, you kind of have to accept the funds that they are using, and they are using cryptocurrency for a large part of that. In that same article, the United Way crypto donation site is seeing donors to be about 25 to 35 years old and 80% of male. And we also see that it's a highly male audience right now. There are females using cryptocurrency, but the large part is male, but that's changing. As more and more females feel comfortable with cryptocurrency, understand cryptocurrency, we're starting to see that shift down a little bit too. And then this is a great one too. In 2020, 45% of cryptocurrency investors donated to charities in 2020, compared to 33% of general investors. So we see that on a payment side, but also on a donation side. So cryptocurrency holders or investors tend to donate more and spend more, which is very appealing and a positive thing for any organization. Why should you do it, and what's the value add for doing accepting cryptocurrency? Well, with Keela, it's easy and fast setup. Zero price volatility. This is very important, and I want to make sure you understand this. When you're dealing with BitPay and Keela, you are dealing in US dollars or fiat. You're not actually accepting the cryptocurrency. You don't have to deal with the price fluctuation of Bitcoin at the time of the donation. When someone says they want to donate 500 US dollars, you're going to get that 500 US dollars minus any fees that you have to incur for that through Keela, but you're going to get the 500 US dollars. If the price of Bitcoin drops 10 to 15% before settlement happens for you, you're still going to get the 500 US dollars, because there is no price volatility when you partner with a company like BitPay, who is partnered with Keela. Simple integrations with Keela, quick bank settlement, which is great because there are no chargebacks with cryptocurrency, whether it's a payment or a donation. We can settle much faster than any other form of money out there today. It's global. It's a fast global payment or a fast global donation. It works cross-border anywhere in the world, so you don't have to be living in one certain area and using their specific fiat currency to do this. And of course, the regulatory compliance part of it is key too. So remember, one, zero price volatility. You're going to get settled like you get settled with today. But the regulatory side of it is too. We have you covered. We deal with the agencies, and we have all the regulations and licenses in place, so you don't have to deal with that. On e-commerce side, I'm going to flip a little bit. We see 2 times the average order value for purchases with cryptocurrency. We don't have enough donations coming through to do the same study, but we have to imagine that donations are the same, 2 times the average donation amount with cryptocurrency. Again, I mentioned zero chargebacks. And the other thing that we see is, because not every nonprofit accepts crypto donations and not every e-commerce platform accepts crypto payments, you can expect up to 40% new customers or new donors. So that's something important and valuable to have. So why BitPay and Keela? So you're going to get fast to market. You're never going to have to hold crypto and tap a massive new market. So never touch crypto. So if you had any fear that you had to report crypto holdings, touch crypto, have a crypto wallet, let me remove that from you. You never have to touch the crypto. You never take possession of the crypto. You're going to get settled just like you get settled today in US dollar or fiat. BitPay works with all crypto wallets and exchanges, and I think that's important to know. So we just don't work with our own crypto wallet, the BitPay wallet, but we work with all crypto wallets and exchanges. And then, of course, you're going to get 10 top donation-ready coins, the biggest one being Bitcoin, but we also do many others, including ApeCoin. You might have heard about ApeCoin. We talked about Dogecoin, a fan of Elon Musk and Mark Cuban here in the United States. But there's 12 coins in total that you can accept donations for. And then from a marketing perspective, we have the experience and the knowledge to help you promote the fact that you accept crypto donations. So you can't just turn on crypto donations through Keela and not do any marketing behind it. But we have the understanding, the knowledge, and we can help you know how to market to new donors and get the message out there. Because if no one knows you accept crypto donations, you're not going to really get those new customers that you want to donate. So we'll help you do that. And we have best practices that we can share with you. And that was my quick overview.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Merrick. Now, let me hop into the Keela side of things. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Now, I think that you can see my screen okay. Let me know. Thumbs up, Merrick. Awesome. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now that you've learned a little bit about what cryptocurrency is and why it's that unique opportunity for donors, we can learn about how we can actually leverage this within your Keela account in order to have Keela do all of that dirty work of collecting and receiving these transactions automatically. Now, the best part about this is that there's really only a few steps required in order to get this set up. And that is, of course, creating a BitPay account and integrating it with Keela, and then creating and sharing your form. From there, it's up to your organization to do some of those fundraising appeals and those campaigns, also leaning on the advice of the BitPay team, who has all of that knowledge about what are the ins and outs of these cryptocurrency users and donors, and then actually implementing that on the system. So I'm not going to cover the process of integrating your BitPay account. However, I'm going to show you where this BitPay integration lives within Keela. So right now I'm just on Keela and I'm going to head into my organization settings. Now, because BitPay is a payment processor, it's actually going to live in this payment processors tab rather than in the integrations tab. Now, there's just a few steps that are required in order to get this nice little green connected badge. And that is going to be included on our knowledge base article, which I will share with you after the fact. But it's just a few steps of inputting an API key from BitPay and then verifying that information within your BitPay account as well. And that's going to build that integrated connection between Keela and BitPay. So now I've set up my account with BitPay and I've got this lovely green connected badge. And I'm actually going to head directly into my forms. So right now, our crypto form is only available for our new form builder. And at the moment, it's only available for our American and Canadian customers. This is something that our product team is working on to expand this global reach for our customers, including the Australian, New Zealand, and future UK regions. And right now, our our crypto form is in that new form builder. So right off the bat, you can choose the crypto form. And you guys know we've talked about our new forms quite a bit. These were really designed by our product team after some rigorous research into industry best practices, and it has a ton of built-in functionality to help increase conversion. Now, these forms are going to look just slightly different than our regular monetary donation forms. So in this case, I actually have a pre-built form, but I want to show you why I'm choosing this crypto form, and I'm recommending the standalone version. Now, with our new Keela donation forms, we have 3 different formats that you can use. You have pop-ups, you have embedded forms, and then you also have this standalone version. Now, what's unique about these different formats is how they're shared. So the pop-up and the embedded forms are restricted to your website. So you'd have to log onto your website and either head to a donation page or click a button in order for the pop-up to be triggered. Now, the standalone is a little bit different. And the reason why I recommend this is because for most organizations, cryptocurrency donations are going to be supplementary. They're not going to be the main source of revenue generation. So in this case, I'd recommend using a standalone form. And that's because you can share it in 3 unique ways. You can have an embedded button on your website. So if you have a regular donation form page, you can add this button to prompt those crypto donors. We also have the ability to share these forms with a unique URL and also with a QR code. So this is a great way if you ever have events or maybe any mail out campaigns, using this QR code is a great way to engage with these donors. So I'm going to head to my pre-built donation form, which is my Bitcoin for Buddy campaign. And I'm going to head into the designer tab. Now, as I mentioned, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. As I mentioned, it's going to be very similar to Keela's regular monetary donation forms. However, the key difference is that it's going to be allowing the crypto donor to choose their cryptocurrency rather than having your organization set preset monetary donation tiers. And this is just given the conversion amount, it's ever fluctuating. So those preset conversion amounts wouldn't work in this specific case. You want to allow the crypto donor to input the donation amount either in cryptocurrency or in the regional currency, so US or Canadian dollars. Now, the last difference you'll see is that we don't allow for recurring donations via cryptocurrency. This is just because it's going to fluctuate based on the market, so it's one-time donations only. So in this case, we can see that it's all the regular makings of our Keela donation form. You can even link it to a campaign to include a progress bar. And then, of course, you would enter that donation amount, which we're actually going to move forward to. One quick thing I did want to mention is this button that we have here to help cover your payment processing fees. So there is always a payment processing fee in Keela, and that's dependent on the integrated payment processor that you're using. So that could be Keela Pay, that could be BitPay, Stripe, or PayPal. Now, each of these payment processing organizations are probably going to have a slightly different fee for your organization. And on top of that, there's the intricacies of certain transaction level fees that may be applied. For instance, sometimes Amex comes with an additional payment processing fee. So what Keela does is we allow your organization to preset this payment processing fee so that it's going to be consistent across all forms. And this is actually managed back in your organization settings in your payment processing tab. So under this public payment processing fee. So for the BitPay payment processing fees, this is a 3% combined payment processing fee on crypto donations. If I'm not mistaken, there's no charge for setting up your BitPay account. So it is really low risk. You would only pay any payment processing fees to BitPay and Keela if a cryptocurrency donation comes through. You're not paying any setup fees or any transaction fees right off the bat. So here you can choose what your fee is, and this is going to be applied across all of your donation forms, regardless if they're monetary or if it's a crypto donation. Now, let's actually go through the process of what this would look like for a crypto donor. So what I've done is I've opened up my standalone donation form on another tab here. And I know this is a rule, no phones at the dinner table, but in this case, crypto donations, I do need to use my phone in order to actually process this. And because I'm using a test wallet with test currency, I just need to triple check how much I actually have in the bank here. So let me open up my phone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit a Bitcoin transaction and I'm going to input the crypto amount. And so we can actually see this conversion happen live, and this conversion happens via BitPay. So in this case, let's say I want to donate 0. There we go. And in this case, that's a $1,400 transaction. So I'm pretty much taking all of the funds out of my BitPay wallet, and I'm going to create that as a crypto donation. So once I click continue, I'm going to add my regular details. Again, we're going to need the address information, anything that's required in order to receipt these transactions. So let me put a address in here. And so this is pretty standard based on Keela's regular donation forms as well. And now I get to that final payment where I'm actually going to donate with BitPay. And as Merrick said, BitPay does have their own wallet, and it's a very popular wallet. So this is something that our crypto donors are going to be very, very familiar with. It's as simple as having it on your device, and it takes a few simple steps. So if I click this button with Donate with BitPay, I can begin my payment, and I'm brought to this second window. Now, I am going to I want to actually pay with a different BitPay account. Let me proceed and see if I can get in this way. Let me do BitPay wallet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scan this BitPay cryptocurrency on my phone. That's going to open it up in my BitPay account. And I was burned. I don't have enough funds. So let me go back. This is a classic use case of not having enough test coins. It's a little bit different than using a credit card. So let me go in. I'll be a little bit less generous. I'm sorry, buddy. Okay, so I'm going to do $14. That's quite a dip. Hopefully cryptocurrency donors wouldn't be making such a rash decision as I am, but alas, let me try again. Okay, begin payment. I'm going to proceed. And I'm going to use my BitPay wallet again. So let me go back and scan my device. And I get to just shorten this. Okay. So on my end, I just have to confirm the payment. Okay, well, I'm having some technical difficulties on my end. I think I've cross-contaminated my two forms, but luckily I had did a test earlier this morning, so I know that it works and I'll be able to show you what this looks like in your BitPay account versus the Keela side of things. And I'll also be able to show you what the generated receipt looks like. So I'll deal with my technical difficulties afterwards. Don't mind me. Let's head back into Keela, head back to our form, and let's see what my little test transaction looked like earlier today. So this transaction is going to appear again in your regular transactions. You can see if I click onto the transaction record itself that I have a total amount listed. And this is going to be a little bit different based on compared to your regular in-kind donations. So in-kind donations are, in this case, crypto is an in-kind donation. Typically, how they are receipted is going to depend on your region. So depending if you're dealing with the CRA or the IRS. And then also on top of that is your organization's own charitable status. So here I have charitable status and I am able to receipt this transaction automatically because BitPay is doing that conversion automatically. So right now I have received those converted funds to US dollars. And because BitPay did that conversion, they're using a fair market value and assigning how much the total amount, the dollar value is. For other in-kind donations, you actually need an appraiser to estimate the value of the property. And for that reason, specifically the IRS, they don't typically allow that total amount to be listed without that appraiser. So in this case, we're pretty much considering BitPay as that appraiser. They're giving us that fair market value. Now, if we look at the receipt itself, and let me download this. We'll see on the Keela donation receipt, we have that it's an in-kind gift, the date it was received, our regular receipt number, and there's going to be an added layer here, and that's that fair market value report, which is provided by BitPay. So here they give you the total amount of the cryptocurrency type, the exchange rate, and also that estimated value of the non-cash contribution. And this is what's going to be shown in your Keela account and also in your BitPay account. So let me head on over to BitPay and show you. This is pretty much like any other standard payment processor. Right away, I can see all of the payments that have come through, and I can also see that dollar amount. So again, as Merrick said, you're not actually having to sit on that cryptocurrency. You're able to get that immediate exchanged dollar amount, which I think for nonprofits is very big because you want to have that security and that ability to pull these funds immediately as well. Now, of course, as we mentioned, these are a different kind of set of donors. So as this information is coming in from your Keela crypto form, Keela's also retaining that additional data on that contact profile. So in this case, I can look at any transaction that's ever come in that has the in-kind gift of cryptocurrency. I can also see any transactions that have come in via BitPay, and I can actually use this data as criteria to build reports, to filter contacts, and to ultimately create those segments so that they can have that continued donor stewardship. So obviously my test was incomplete, but it isn't successful. It's a very easy payment processing procedure from start to finish. And again, these crypto donors are used to processing transactions like this probably on the daily. So from the technical standpoint, it's only a few steps that you need to do on your end, and then Keela and BitPay are going to handle the rest for you. So that's kind of the basic walkthrough of Keela and as it's going to integrate into BitPay. So you can see the funds. I do see we have a few questions coming in. So I figure, Merrick, maybe we can open it up for our Q&A, and we'll start here. And then if I need to hop back onto the system, I will. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these questions first and foremost. Got two here. Okay, so we've got two questions. I'm new to cryptocurrency. Yes, me too. But I'd like to introduce the idea to the board. Do the donors need to have a BitPay account, or can they use any other company? Now, Merrick, I think you have more knowledge on this, so I'll lend this to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They do not have to have a BitPay account, and often they don't. Again, we support all crypto wallets and exchanges, so they could use any wallet that they have and any exchange that they have a relationship with. Now, we will always say the BitPay wallet works best because we can control the BitPay wallet and we're processing the donation. So when you have control of both the wallet and the donation, it always works best. But we do support all crypto wallets and all exchanges.
Awesome. Thank you. And we have another question about the fees. So Keela charges 2% on any cryptocurrency transaction, so 2% of the total amount, and BitPay, I believe, is 1%. So that's that combined 3% payment processing rate, which is just a little bit above what the regular nonprofit processing fees are for Stripe, PayPal, and Keela Pay. Now, I don't see any other questions in the Q&A. Let me check on the chat and see if anything has come out there.
So while you're checking, Nicole, I do want to mention that, without fail, at the end of every calendar year, we get charitable organizations approach us and saying, I have a very large donor and I need to accept that donation right away, which is great. It's great for the donor. It's great for the charitable organization, but it does require time, especially if they're not going through an organization like Keela where they already have that integration. So I guess my point is there's no reason why not to accept crypto donations. It costs nothing unless it's used. And that fee can also be passed on to the donor. And in the crypto world, donors are often used to paying that fee. So it's not a big deal for them to make that, to include that fee in the donation. But you don't want to be caught at the 12th hour and trying to scramble and get something up when you have a $50,000 or $100,000 donation come in. And that's what we see often in the charitable world at the end of the calendar year. Someone's trying to make a big donation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point, Merrick. And I do believe that for our American customers, the IRS and the CRA classify cryptocurrency and deal with them a little bit differently. But for our American customers, there definitely is that tax incentive for these crypto donors to donate rather than to trade or cash out their cryptocurrency. So I do feel like, Merrick, you may be able to speak to this more, but in general, these donation amounts, it's beneficial to both the donor and obviously your organization as well. So it's kind of that mutual relationship that being prepared for, even if you don't anticipate your regular donor base using cryptocurrencies, having that preparedness factor. So if and when this happens, you're ready to process these transactions, and it's a seamless process for the donor and for your organization as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Here in the United States, the IRS treats cryptocurrency as an asset. So it's not a currency. And, we call it a currency, but it's essentially an asset. So, and that's how it's treated here. So anytime that you sell an asset, you have to report whether you made money on the asset or you lost money on that asset. And that's what you have to do with cryptocurrency. So often when people have made money in the sale or investing in cryptocurrency, at the end of the year here in the United States, they're looking for a way to reduce their taxes on what they've done. And one way would be to make a charitable donation. So, and likewise, in a down market like this, they're trying to find ways to do a little bit of tax harvesting. And that's when you offset some other things. So they'll sell cryptocurrency at a loss just so they can do that tax harvesting and reduce whatever they owe to the IRS here in the United States. So whether the crypto is high or whether the crypto is low, they are making donations for whatever purpose they need to make those donations for.
Absolutely. We do have another question that came through, and Merrick, I'm going to send this one to you just to see. We are an organization in Canada. Are there any stats about users specifically in Canada? Because I think that primarily your organization is in the United States. So I think probably the majority of the statistics from your presentation were about American or maybe North American consumers as well.
Right. So I don't have any specific stats right now for Canadian users. I will say that it is used in Canada. We do have merchants that are accepting cryptocurrency. We actually have some nonprofits that work with us directly that are accepting donations. Our BitPay wallet is allowed and downloadable in Canada. And we do see transactions happening in our wallet from Canada. Obviously, it's not going to be as big as the United States, but there is a lot of interest in Canada regarding cryptocurrency. So I don't have specific stats, but we do see general interest in it.
Yes, absolutely. And I know even from our side of things, we do have, it's an organization platform called Canada Helps. And essentially it's just a way for a lot of organizations to promote their cause and engage with donors who they may not always be able to have in their own contact database. So often we do see people who have a Keela donation form, and then maybe they also use Canada Helps as well. And Canada Helps does accept crypto donations. So I do believe that this is something that is quite important for Canadian crypto donors as well. And so it's great to be able to offer that on your own platform without having to send people to an external website in order to process those transactions. We've got another question come through. What would you tell a regular donor about the benefits of crypto against the dollars? Merrick, I'm going to send that to you. I think you know a little bit more about the ins and outs of the benefits from the crypto side of things.
Well, yeah, so there's a lot of benefits, but cryptocurrency isn't directly competitive to the dollar, whether it's Canadian dollar or US dollar, because they're separate. One is a true currency, right? And one is an asset that you've been investing in. So it's almost like if someone wanted to give you a stock, you would rather take that stock directly from someone versus having them go to their broker, sell it, have the funds put into their bank account, which could take days, and then make that donation. So the quickest way to receive cryptocurrency donation is that direct route. They could go to an exchange, sell their cryptocurrency on an exchange again, but they're waiting days for that cryptocurrency, the funds to clear so that they can move it to their bank account and then make that. So the general benefit is, as I mentioned again, this is wealth. This is new wealth. $1 trillion globally sits in cryptocurrency today. So if you look at the largest countries in the world, that's a very large country to have $1 trillion in circulating supply of out there, right? So that's the greatest thing. The other thing, because it's all digital, settlement happens faster. So you can do that. There is no chargebacks, as I mentioned. I doubt you get a lot of chargebacks in the charitable nonprofit donation world, but I imagine it can still happen, especially if you deal with credit cards and other payment methods like that, where someone changes their mind 3 days later, 7 days later, and says, you know what, I shouldn't have made that donation. I'm just going to call my credit card company and fight that now. You can't do that in the cryptocurrency world. Once a donation has been made, it has and cleared, there's no coming back for that donation. That's between you and the donor if you want to do that. But in our world, we cannot change that. It's simple terms, it's a push payment. The donor has to approve everything. The donor has to approve access to the funds, and we can't just pull it from their wallet. So that's what makes it no chargebacks. So those are the two biggest ones. One's it's digital, it's fast, there are no chargebacks, and it works globally. So yes, you're I guess based in Canada, but if you accept donations from other parts of the world, they're dealing in the cryptocurrency that they have, and not the fiat or local currency that they have, and then your local currency, right? So it's much easier to make a donation maybe from Australia to Canada using Bitcoin than it is using the local currency and then coming over to the Canadian local currency. So I think those are the biggest ones. And again, it's the younger demographic. So if you're interested in attracting donations from a younger demographic, then you have to have what the younger demographic is using, and many of them are using cryptocurrency today.
And I think that's really at the core of it. Yamila, I believe they've been sending in lots of questions, and specifically about, maybe myths and fears that, surround the buzzword of cryptocurrency. And I think when we think about donors, we need to think about these as kind of two parallel donor groups. And as Merrick said, it's going to be engaging with a whole new type of donor. And I think that the key there is understanding the differences in the donors, how they want to be stewarded, how they want to be interacted with. But you don't necessarily need to convert your regular, donors into that cryptocurrency. You want to think about them separately and engage with them differently. And that's what's actually going to expand your donor base, rather than trying to maybe convert people who give you a regular monetary donation once a month. Instead of kind of trying to convert them into, having cryptocurrency, you would want to think of them separately and think of this new generation of donors who is coming in, who's inheriting this generational wealth as well, and using that wealth in different ways and choosing to distribute their wealth in different ways as well.
Right. And I'll throw out another myth or fear is, cryptocurrency. A lot of people think of it as currency that is being used in the underworld. It might have started that way in the beginning because it was easy to do, but cryptocurrency is in fact more legitimate than traditional currency like the US dollar. Because it's a digital currency, you can track the funds from one wallet to another wallet to another wallet to another wallet. So it's actually harder to do money laundering with cryptocurrency because it is a digital currency than it is to do money laundering with the US dollar or another currency, local currency. So that's a myth. In fact, even if something bad does happen, and it happens, occasionally, where you read about someone did this on Twitter and they got money from people. Here in the United States, the FBI is able to track down that money because there's a digital footprint. And I don't know if you know much about the blockchain, but the blockchain is how cryptocurrency operates. Everything's on the blockchain. Bitcoin is its own blockchain. Ethereum is its own blockchain. No one else is on the Bitcoin blockchain, but other coins are using the Ethereum blockchain. But you can go back to the first transaction that ever happened with Bitcoin and see the details of that transaction online. So you see every transaction that happens with Bitcoin on the Bitcoin blockchain. You just don't know the why behind it, like what wallet or who owns that wallet and why was it being used. You just know that money was moved from this wallet to this wallet, and this is the amount that was moved. So it's very transparent, in fact.
Absolutely. And I think that is one of those fears, kind of an ingrained fear. And I think that more donors are going to be moving to cryptocurrency. I think more people in general are going to be moving to cryptocurrency as it becomes more of an accepted way to transfer wealth between people and to also build up your own wealth as well. So I think that now it's still very much a buzzword, but we are seeing more people continuing to invest in this cryptocurrency. And I think that moving forward for the nonprofit sector, this is going to be very important to kind of get a handle on now so that you're prepared for when that boom kind of happens and people are ready to donate their cryptocurrencies.
Absolutely. And Keela makes it easy. So again, there's no reason why not to offer it, right? If it costs nothing to add and you only pay for when it's used, you might as well have it so that it's available. instead of rushing at the last minute to try to get it up and running. And then hopefully you still get that donation, but there's oftentimes you might miss that donation because they don't want to wait the 7 days or 10 days for everything to get set up so they can make that donation. They'll just move on to a different nonprofit and make that donation there. So yeah, something else to think about too is, here in the United States, we have a travel rule. So any donation or any purchase over $3,000 US, we have to do due diligence or KYC the customer. So we know where the money is coming from. And that's very positive in that nature. So, and when it gets to larger donations, we actually have to do enhanced due diligence, just to prove that it is not money laundering. But here in the United States, and actually we follow this rule all over the world, unless the rule is less. We do KYC. We do our own KYC of the customer if it's $3,000 or more.
Right. Awesome. Well, I think that's our last question, unless there's any more to come in, even about the crypto forum side of things. I'll just wait a few more seconds, see if anybody else has any lingering questions that they want to pop in the chat or in the Q&A. Merrick, I want to thank you so much for your time and your expertise here. Cryptocurrency was new for me. And so obviously I've learned it through the integration, but you've provided some really foundational background knowledge. And I feel more equipped to have those dinner table conversations as well. So if anybody has any additional questions, feel free to reach out to our support team. Also, BitPay, I'm sure, has wonderful support. So if you do decide to open a BitPay account and to integrate with Keela, they have, I'm assuming, a wonderful knowledge base, which is going to provide you with that access to that marketing help as well, which I think will be really key for the nonprofit organizations who are kind of expanding their donor base and trying to bring in this additional revenue stream as well. So I will send the recording to everybody, hopefully today or maybe tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And if you have any questions, please reach out to our support. Have a wonderful day, everybody.